graded 15,000 papers while teaching high school English for 8 years. And I want to talk for a second about words. They are the vehicle in which we communicate our truth to the world. And those who understand how to use them have the ability to express their thoughts and feelings in a way that they're going to be taken seriously, that they can advocate for change for themselves and for their communities. And those who do not have that power are kind of muteless, are mute. They're voiceless in the conversation, and they're not able to advocate for the things that they want to do. And with that as a context, we're still at a point, unfortunately, where 3 out of 4 students are not even at a basic proficiency level for writing and comprehension. For the last decade, the lowest scores on the ACT and the SAT are not in math, they're not in reading, it's actually the writing section. It's consistently been a problem. Thank you. So good. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay. How about now? Great. So the problem is that when students actually get their papers, they have no idea what to do with the feedback. And so they look at their essays and they feel guilty for a few minutes, and then they end up throwing out the paper or losing it. And I had 170 students when I taught. If you just do some basic math, and you think about the fact that 15 minutes times 170 papers, that's 43 hours. That's on every draft of every assignment. So of course, teachers are overwhelmed, and of course we're setting up a dynamic where students are going to be shepherded from grade to grade without any expectation that kids are actually going to be able to improve. And then on the other end, you have administrators who are looking at students' performance on the ACT, the SAT, PARCC, Smarter Balanced, and writing is being assessed more authentically these days, and they're not seeing the results they want. And there are a host of math products. The market is flooded with folks making a difference in STEM, and there's a lot of great innovation going on there. But if we were actually to look at the Common Core, look at state standards, about 61% of what English teachers are supposed to be doing in classroom is under the writing and the language content strands. And yet multiple choice is still how we're fundamentally assessing kids' progress in these areas. So if we're actually going to help kids get better, we need to give them engaging curriculum. We have to give them feedback that's targeted to their specific problems. We need to scaffold skills for students so they can actually build up their confidence as they work. We have to be able to focus on application. Because if they're doing exercises and they don't translate to their writing, then who cares? Then the product isn't helpful. So I created NoRedInk to address this problem while I was teaching at Whitney Young, where Mr. Soto is sitting over there. And it hinges on this premise that students learn best in their immediate social context. So we take students' favorite celebrities and their personal interests and their friends, all the things that they like, and we generate curriculum that's adaptive from that. We have 2 products. One is NoRedInk Conventions, one is NoRedInk Writing. One focuses on grammar, usage, mechanics, and style, and the other, the quality of students' ideas. And I'll show you a little bit about how the Conventions product works. So if we start at the point where a student has actually logged in and a teacher has added her roster, she can pick a variety of areas and she can immediately get diagnostic data of all the categories that students are being assessed on, how many are struggling, how many are approaching proficiency, and how many are already proficient. And then teachers can start by planning out their unit around her kids for that particular class. NoRedInk has 60 different learning paths. There are 600 topics within all those learning paths. And if you think about a very authentic skill, like we want a student to improve his voice and be able to vary his structure, we can kind of design down and work backwards and start with maybe a sentence level exercise and build up from there. And even at that point, this is not multiple choice, right? Students can drag in punctuation, they can click to change, they can throw out what they don't need, they can click to capitalize and uncapitalize words. It gives them a lot more freedom. And if a student makes a mistake, we have the ability to give kids a hint. If a student is still struggling, we can generate a little lesson. And if students, even with that level of remediation, don't know what to do, we can show them their answers, we can show them the correct version, and we can give them another example so they can continue to practice with different examples, but the same basic principles. And you'll see there are a variety of exercises we use to allow students to actually play with language so that they can tactily manipulate things and realize that there are often multiple ways to express one's point of view. So we go from the sentence level to the paragraph level to the passage level, or if it's fiction and nonfiction, students can look at work that's much more authentic. And after going and making a bunch of revisions to a passage, we can help drill down on any specific error that a student has, and we can help her remediate at the very local level. And once she fixes that, we can zoom back to the broader picture so she can apply her changes to larger piece of writing. Now, of course, data is a very important part of any EdTech product, and so teachers can constantly see where kids are needing remediation, both from a mastery perspective and a grading perspective, and we can show, hey, this is how, to what degree each student has improved. On top of the conventions product, we have the NoRedInk writing platform, which I'm not going to demo for you today, but it's an adaptive curriculum across grades 5 through 12, and that's for narrative and persuasive and expository writing. And it allows students, as they're doing some of the practice exercises that I showed you, to submit their own writing, and it takes them through a process, a methodology of doing guided review and self-review, and then helps them to reflect and revise their work as teachers are able to provide local feedback and actually give students grades. So while that is happening, we're able to take the information locally in each classroom and roll that up to the school level and to the district level so administrators can see, is all this curriculum that students are doing, is that actually applying to third-party assessments? And we've been able to show a lot of progress there. NoRedInk has a marketing team of 0. Our total company is about 65. We have spread now to 1 in 2 school districts in the US, a little bit more than that. Students answer 250 million questions, that's every month, and we have some of the most major school districts in the US using us. We've been able to demonstrate that across race, gender, socioeconomic status, 36% of students have grown by at least 2 grade levels on the MAP language usage test, which connects to Common Core. So we've been able to show that if students are mastering topics within our site, then when they go off to look at the SAT and the ACT and other essay assessments, that they're able to do well. It's a very important part of the work we do. And we have a classic freemium model. So just like with Amazon, you can preview chapters 1 and 2 of a book. And if you like it, then you can buy the whole thing. So a lot of schools and districts purchase NoRedInk conventions, and then they purchase the writing curriculum on top of that. We've received a lot of recognition for our work. There are 1 billion people learning English, so we can have a lot of impact.